Can I press the big record button?
Yes, you may.
Ooh, damn. That was cool. For the record, I want hardball questions only.
Yeah.
What was your tax return like last year?
Yeah.
Social security number,
just getting
credit
into your
card number.
finances.
Yeah, exactly.
How much money have you made from Neato?
How much money do you make before taxes? Yeah.
I got to tell you, this is a dream come true for multiple reasons. Number one, this is basically a stop on your press tour for your new album, which has always been a dream of mine. You know, like
I'm
on
so
talk
excited
shows.
that we are now a stop
Yeah.
that someone would go on for a press tour.
Yeah. You guys, you're just part of the journey. You're part of my journey.
So
Right.
that was the first reason.
That was the first
Can
reason.
I take the second reason?
Please.
I don't know if it's going to match up with your reason,
Okay.
but we actually listen to your music. Like I listen to your music all the time in my car. And then I think, wait, this is crazy. I actually know Henry.
Yeah.
This is so weird.
Yeah, that's helpful. That's good for context.
So it's good to know that we also enjoy your music.
Okay, hell yeah. Yeah, so we're burger boys. We did we rated all the best burgers in Los Angeles, and you also know my music.
Yes.
So we have two things going.
Yeah. Was that your number 2?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I'll throw number 3 out.
Okay.
Why not? I feel like a list is always good in 3.
Yeah.
Sure.
Number 3,
Yeah.
I also was so excited to see you on Curb this season.
Yeah.
If you guys don't know, Henry was on the latest season of Curb Your Enthusiasm. Very funny.
Thank you.
And so now that rounds out the list of 3.
Yeah.
So
nice.
we have a multi-faceted creator here.
A triple threat.
Thank you.
threat.
Yeah. My dancing. You guys have not seen yet. That's the third
Well, you
thread.
do dance in your music videos.
Yeah, I do a little. There's some dancing in there. Yeah.
There's definitely some dancing.
Yeah. Oh, right. There is one now, like officially. Yeah. Right. In other ones, I only have little tiny moments.
Tiny
of, like,
moments of shimmy.
moving, but like there's actually a choreographed dance in the Non My House video. I forgot about that. Yeah. Good. Yeah.
So Henry just released a album last week. I think we're about a week out from the album coming out.
Yep.
Which album number is this?
This is my first full length album.
First full length.
Yeah.
So everything else is EP.
Everything else is EPs. I've had, 4 EPs, 3 solo and 1 collaborative EP. So for those of you who don't know, camera check, EP is like a, shorter record, pretty much anything under like 7 songs. And then full length is like 7 and above ish, 8 and above. So yeah, I was like, it's time to make a full length project so I can go on the Colin and Samir podcast.
Right.
Yeah.
What does EP stand for? I never knew.
Extended play.
Oh.
Yeah,
And what's
I think
LP?
Long play, something
Really?
like that.
It's that
I'm not
simple?
100% positive, but I
Okay,
think
got
it
it.
is. It's definitely vinyl related.
So you've
Yeah.
made, I think people who are watching and listening right now might not even know that they've heard your music, especially, a lot of our audience is part of the YouTube community, avid YouTube watchers.
Yes, like me, by the way.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they've heard your music, whether they know it or not, I think, in some of the biggest YouTube videos, at least that I've seen. One of those being our Burger Boys video.
Yeah, that's
I was
right.
gonna say, I was like, if you pass
That's
over
number
that
one.
Burger Boys
Yeah, which is really fun. Henry made a custom song for us.
Yes.
Which maybe we should just play the intro right now. Wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable song. So
And
that was
yeah.
customly made.
It's
for
pretty
us.
much that and Let It Be. Those are
Right.
the two. Those are the
two
best songs. Yeah.
How did you start? How did you start interacting with YouTube as an outlet for your music? Because you have done songs for some pretty big YouTube creators and songs that are in some pretty big YouTube videos.
Yeah. Well, let's see. It all started when I was born. It was a C-section.
Sure.
No. It started.
Was it a C-section?
Oh yeah.
Okay, you
Me
can't just
too.
leave us.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah, me too.
Dude, that's why we're friends.
That's why. Yeah.
That's why.
Well, I wasn't a C-section.
We're also from the same home. We're also from the same hometown.
Colin.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not from the Palisades.
Odd man out. Yeah. Yes, we are. We'll get into some Palisades.
Yeah, we'll get into
stuff
hometown
eventually. Yeah.
Cool. I'll leave for that.
No, but yeah, I got the YouTube stuff started because of our mutual friend Jack Coyne.
Shout out to Jack Coyne.
Huge shout out to Jack, one of the besties. And Jack started working for Casey Neistat when we went to college together, Jack and I, and we're friends in college. And I just sort of through osmosis met Casey through Jack. And one day Casey literally asked me, hey man, I need a song for a video I'm making about my wife, and I want you to write an original song for it. And I was like, oh, wow, cool. Yeah, that would be great. And it was sort of, he was definitely not as big as he is now. I mean, he was still Casey Neistat and like a huge influence on the YouTube community and stuff. And, but it was sort of earlier days. So I didn't really know what I was kind of getting myself into so much, but, I had a song lying around that I liked, like some chords and a couple lyrics. And I was like, okay, you know what? This could work for a video like this. So I kind of fleshed it out, finished it, made a demo of it, and sent it to Casey. And I got an email back right away. And he was like, cool, man, this is perfect. It's in the video and I'm putting it out in 20 minutes. And I was like, wait, no, that's just the demo. And then boom, it goes out. And people really responded to it. And I think, unbeknownst to me, like the Casey's YouTube community was so loyal and like loved everything he did, of course, because he's amazingly talented. And like, it sort of taught me a lesson of if it works, it works, like from a creative standpoint. Like it doesn't, I think I got that was an important moment for me because it made me a little less precious about like production value and sort of like a threshold in terms of like the sonic quality for songs. It's like if the heart is there in the tune, sometimes you don't really need to mess with like the demo version too much. And looking back on it, like a more produced, less lo-fi, more like hi-fi sounding version of Talk. That's the song I'm talking about, that Casey used in his Love Story in a Making video. It wouldn't have worked as well. Like there's something touching, I think, about the sort of homemade quality of the tune. And he also actually uses, because I sent him the demo, I sent him like an even earlier demo of me just like humming and like playing those chords. And that's what you hear in like the very, very beginning of the video.
Oh, wow.
It's like black and white and it's like, like just me plucking on acoustic guitar. So yeah, that was a trip. And then I worked at Beam and I've been involved in the Neistat Mafia for some time now.
So that's so interesting. I didn't know that about the demo version of that song.
Yeah.
Fantastic song.
Thank you.
I think has well over 1.5 million plays on Spotify as well, which is awesome.
Thank you.
And I think that lesson that you learned is a lesson that every artist has to learn at some point, especially to exist in today's world where things just have to come out.
Yeah.
You have to publish things and then you start to recognize like the value of feedback it's so important. Feedback is incredibly important. To have someone else receive your work and see their reaction and see how it goes.
Totally.
Is so incredibly important because as an artist, especially, for us making videos and for you making music, a lot of time is spent alone in a room with your own creation.
Yeah.
And it's natural that at some point you're like, this is the worst thing that has ever existed.
And what's perfect for someone else is the worst thing for you personally.
Of course.
It is so incredibly rare, I think, to have something from start to finish for an artist to be like, this is the best thing ever, every step of the way.
Oh, that's never ever happened to me.
Yeah.
No, hell no.
And it's so refreshing. Like once you put it out, it's a scary feeling. Like I'm sure you had that feeling when Casey said like, I'm putting it out. You're like, no, not yet. And then it's out and everyone's like, this is amazing. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
great.
Totally. Yeah. It gave me like new perspective for sure. And I think especially with that song, which is so, I don't know, it's very intimate, and quiet. And I think I like if I were to do some psychoanalyze, I can call my shrink if we wanted to bring him in.
Yeah,
on a call.
Can he come in?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
come
yeah.
on in. Come on in, Dr. Gillette.
Come on, Gillette.
Yeah, that's his name. No relation. At least I don't think. But yeah, I mean, like there's something I needed to like break out of the shell.
Yeah,
I guess, especially with that song, and KC sort of giving it the cosign was like what I needed. And I think that probably I would have a different approach to like releasing music and the songs that I release and the way that they're produced and stuff if I hadn't had that experience with Talk. Yeah.
Where were you as a musician in the first place? Like at that time?
At that time, I was working in a music studio in New York, recording studio. I had pretty much just graduated college, I think. So I had just started like being a solo artist. It was like the very, very beginning of my career as I knew it. And I didn't really know like what direction I was going to be headed in. So he sort of helped me steer a little bit, maybe in the right way. So big shout out to Casey. Yeah. And to Candace too, who was there when I came over to watch the video. She was like, "Thank you so much. It's beautiful." She was like crying. It was really sweet.
That's really sweet.
Yeah.
So you're also an actor.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Aren't we all?
I've seen you act in YouTube videos, which I've loved. So I want to kind of go back in time.
Sure.
As we alluded to, we both grew up in the same hometown.
Yes, we did.
Shout out to the Palisades.
Big shout out.
Big shout out. But that also means we grew up in Los Angeles. I remember growing up in Los Angeles, like the industry was entertainment. Like I always talked to Colin about it, who grew up on the East Coast, where a lot of the industry that you're surrounded by is finance.
Yeah.
That's the aspiration. But growing up in LA, especially in the town that we grew up in and the schools that we went to, like the aspiration is entertainment.
Yeah, totally. That's why we're actors and Colin is a stockbroker.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, there you go.
But you additionally grew up in an entertainment family.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, when you were a kid, like, was your aspiration to always be in some level of art or entertainment?
I wanted to be a professional surfer.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I
Like at what age?
probably until I was like 15. I was like, I like this.
Until
is what
you
I'm
were
gonna
15?
do. Yeah, I surfed competitively and liked
No
it. That was
way.
like my sport.
Wait,
growing
So
up.
not only was it like an identity that you sought after, you actually were.
Yeah,
a
no, I
good
was
surfer.
like slightly not really I was definitely never good enough to actually be a professional surfer.
So
but,
I
like,
got a question.
Yeah.
Growing up in the Palisades, where did you surf?
all over, man. I mean, so my dad is from Santa Barbara.
Okay, got it.
So I sort of like spent half my time up there. Like grew up surfing in like Ventura mostly, and like parts of Malibu kind of, and like.
But you wouldn't go to Sunset. That's not where you would go.
Sunset's sort of like a beginner wave, man.
Yeah. We've never been.
No, I don't.
Yeah, Colin and I, that's not where we go on a regular basis.
Oh yeah. Oh
no.
yeah.
No.
Yeah, we would
good,
never.
good. Because
Sunset?
if it was, we'd have to.
Yeah,
this
we would-
interview is
Yeah,
over.
no.
Yeah.
So wait,
yeah.
did you?
No, I love Sunset though. I
did
do.
you?
I grew up
was
like
gonna say,
when I was learning to surf. I grew up going.
I
there
didn't
and
just buy a
stuff.
big foam surfboard, right?
Yeah.
Oh no, of course you
Yeah.
did. No way.
You didn't go to Pali High though, did you?
No, I
Because I remember they had a one thing about growing up in Southern California.
Yeah, they had a surf team.
They have a surf team.
Yeah, Crossroads
which-
did too.
Crossroads did too.
Team
Har-
captain,
Harvest
baby, you're
did too.
looking at him.
You were
right
the team
here.
captain of
Yeah.
the surf team.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
For me, like
We
high
had
That was on the
surf teams.
college
schools,
resume.
high schools with surf teams are strictly for like the WB.
Right.
Like that's how it feels to me.
Yeah. Early 2000s, like early mid 2000s,
Yeah, sure.
like drama.
Exactly. It's the
hour
OC
drama.
or
Yeah,
that's
sure,
it.
Sure.
So did you compete like in competitions?
Yeah.
Wow.
I competed in the NSSA and like never did well, but
I had an NSSA sweatshirt
oh, did you?
that was given to me by a friend,
Mm-hmm.
and I would wear it with a lot of confidence, and I could not surf. And I just thought it was so radical to have
Yeah,
this
dude. I
sweatshirt.
mean, why
Yeah.
not? Just
Yeah.
if you can get. It's better to have the sweatshirt and pose like you're a cool surfer guy
Yes,
than
100%.
just not.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
why not? Yeah. Love it.
I was always jealous of
Yeah.
people like you who could surf really well, because I was like, I never got in the water at a young age, and so it was just like too late at some point, and you're like,
Yeah.
God, no,
Yeah.
I don't.
I feel you. I mean, I think it's funny. Surfing is, I mean, maybe you're finding this to be the case on your new big foam board, which is a great way to start, by the way.
I've been surfing for 8 years. So.
Oh, okay. No, I was going to say though, literally, dude, it's like golf.
Yeah.
Like it takes a lifetime to become proficient at.
I also think it's so interesting because it's a thing that if you do it every day and you commit to the process, that's the only way you'll actually get better. You can't just pop in the water occasionally.
No.
Like it is absolutely a feeling.
Totally.
Like in the water to actually know, like I recognized that when there was a point where we were surfing regularly, which was a great time. But during that time, what I realized was it was absolutely just about decision making. It was decision making of how much energy you were going to put out for the wave that was coming your way. Now I'm going to make a big life analogy here.
I was literally about to say,
he's not just doing this for nothing.
Metaphor coming?
Yeah, there's a metaphor coming.
Yeah.
And I remember just feeling like, wow, this is so interesting. It is a complete metaphor for life.
Yeah.
Like, there's these waves that come, which are opportunities. And you have to decide how much energy you're going to put forth to this opportunity.
Totally.
And not everyone is going to work out. Sometimes you put forth a ton of energy and you don't catch the wave. And sometimes you realize like, man, that was a really good wave. And you didn't put forth any energy and so you didn't catch it. But the thing that's really interesting is you have absolutely no control over when these opportunities are coming your way.
Yeah.
But the one thing that you do know is no matter what, even if it takes forever, there's another wave coming.
Whew. That was fire.
So when you missed the wave of professional surfing at age 15.
Yeah. The wave missed me.
Yeah, the wave.
The professional surfing world is missing out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when that pivotal moment happened at 15, from an identity standpoint, where did you sort of shift?
Well, I mean, it's funny. Like pretty soon. I mean, that was sort of my biggest like lofty pipe dream was to like be in the surf industry and or be a professional surfer. But I've been playing music and like kind of knew in the back of my head, like I wanted to be a musician and that's what was probably going to happen.
That's an interesting, interesting thing.
Yeah. I mean, I had like the things that I sort of was where I would be able to like achieve a flow state and like kind of shed all of my anxieties and like neuroses as a kid, which I had a lot of, were like, this is so corny, but like while I was surfing and like while I was playing music, I would say it wasn't until college that I really sort of like gained some confidence in my musicianship, I guess.
Did you play? So I have two questions. One, your high school is riddled with musicians. I mean,
a lot of musicians.
A ton of musicians came out of that high school. And additionally, I played music growing up, and I was not nearly as talented as you are at music, but I was incredibly confident. And so we played all over the Sunset Strip, my band.
For real?
All over like from the age of 14, we played the Roxy, we played the House of Blues, we played the Key Club, we played the Whiskey, but every club on the Sunset Strip. And it was an unbelievable scene though at that time in LA. Like the music scene was amazing. That was like the thing to do on a Friday night was go see a high school band.
Yeah.
There's a band from your school called The Outline. Graham Fink was the lead singer. I'm a little bit older than you, but and they were older than me. And they were incredible. And they would get together and play shows. I remember going to see Rooney out like
of course.
Yeah. It's
like speaking of the OC, they have a little cameo.
Did you play any live shows?
No. So it's funny, like my high school had a very like prestigious jazz program that I was a part of, but I never really jived with the system, man. Like I never really felt like I totally fit into the vibe of the jazz program at Crossroads. I mean, I loved all the people who were in it, and I had a lot of friends in the program and stuff. But my real, the sort of music catharsis feeling, that shedding of anxiety feeling came from when I would play original music and play shows and stuff. And it was sort of, I was weirdly like kind of secretive about it. I wasn't so, I didn't go around to everyone at school being like, hey, come to my show, come to my show, come to my show. Cause in high school, you want to be like, you want to be chill, you want to be the guy who doesn't do anything, but like also does everything. You know.
Also, was that just in high school, or is that still now?
Colin's like, wow, I need to change my life.
Every day, I'm still trying to be like casually cool. It's like I have a YouTube channel and a podcast, and I just bought a surfboard.
Dude, you know what? You're making all the right moves. Yeah, these are good decisions.
So, did you identify more as surfer or musician in high school?
Honestly, man, I sorry, I'm kind of going all over the place with this question, but like, I really identified as like a funny guy, as like a class clown. That was really my
Did you do
thing.
theater or drama or anything like that?
No acting. Just like how hard can I make everyone laugh in class or like at the lunch tables. I was kind of I was friends with everybody, kind of moved around to a lot of different groups, but I didn't really have, I always felt a little bit isolated because I wasn't entrenched in one group. I was a bit of like a floater. Excuse me. And I don't know. That was where I found that I got the most sort of feedback, like we were talking about, and where I had the most confidence, I guess, I was able to use the class clownery as a way to have people not ask questions.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They would just kind of laugh and then move on. And that I felt comfortable in that, and
what were you avoiding in terms of the questions? Like, was it like you didn't want to?
I didn't want, honestly, I feel like in high school, it was uncool to have passions and interests,
I agree.
it was cool to just want to socialize, and have that be your passion. Like, how popular can I become?
Yep.
But without being too, literally like we were saying, like, and I don't know, that was definitely my,
I think especially if you weren't like excelling at something. And I think that was always my concern. Like when I was growing up, I was really into drama. Like I wanted to act. And
for real?
Yeah.
That's
and
cool.
I did a ton of plays. Even my brother and I, when we were young, we did commercials.
Really?
And my brother had an agent that I kind of tacked onto, and
that's cute.
Yeah, and like we did a Hanes commercial, which was super fun, and like we did some acting stuff.
You gotta
and
have
then
your bro on the podcast.
We've had him.
We've had him.
Have you?
Oh, okay.
It's
It's a good
fantastic.
episode. Yeah.
Oh my
it's
God,
a
I
really
gotta watch
fantastic
that.
episode.
That's great.
But yeah, and both of us, I think, really wanted to act. And as I got to high school, like especially the high school I went to, like there was a lot of really good actors, and I remember I was just like, this isn't gonna, like that same emotion where it was like you're making decisions based on what's gonna make you popular.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is not gonna make me popular.
Yeah.
And it's one of my biggest regrets is not pursuing, even like not to become a actor, but just to express myself in that way. High school, like there were so many opportunities to act, and I didn't take a single one of them. Once I got to high school, I just stopped it immediately. I was just like, that's not what the seemingly cool kids do. They play basketball and football. And so I guess I got to play sports now.
I felt that way.
Like totally.
Lacrosse for me was a safe identity as a high school student.
Interesting.
It was like, if I just pick that route, even though I'm 5'6" and 130 pounds.
Yeah.
Like, why don't I just be an athlete? Because that's a cool identity.
Right. Totally.
And for me, like I stuck to that. And then it wasn't until I didn't get recruited to play college lacrosse that like later in my high school life, I was like, oh, wait a minute. I need to like
become a person.
I need to like find some other identities here that have some substance and like that I enjoy.
Totally.
But it is interesting like how you make those decisions as a high school student.
I mean, mine literally like you replace lacrosse with, razor scootering on like the desk, and like jumping off and trying to make the teacher not notice you're doing that. Like that's literally what I was doing. I was trying to be funny. But yeah, I mean, I think, I don't know. It wasn't until I got to college that people were like, oh, cool. Like you surf and play music.
Well, because you went to college on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were California kid.
I was definitely, I brought a skateboard to college and everything. Yeah. Skateboard. That was another thing too. I like was equally passionate about skateboarding and still am. Yeah, man. I mean, I was like, oh, wow. Okay. People are interested in people who are interesting and like have things that they do in real life. This is what it's like. I guess I can do these things and like be proud of them. So that was definitely a good wake up call. I feel like that was like one of my biggest realizations when I got to college.
I also think the college you went to was probably very accepting of, which is Wesleyan.
Yeah.
And
Wesleyan.
It might have been different going to like ASU or some like big like sports football school. Because
the Wesleyan football program is blowing up.
Okay.
It's huge.
How dare you assume?
Yeah. We're gonna jump from D3 to D1 in 2 years tops.
So I went to UC Santa Cruz, which is it's the Wesleyan of the West.
Yes.
That's not what they call it, but
it says that on a plaque,
right?
Of the school.
The Wesleyan,
but also
everyone gets
like a very
that.
like art. It's basically arts, science, and surfing. That's what UC Santa Cruz is, which is like a really interesting place to go.
Yeah.
But it finally was a place where I was given the permission to immerse myself into like film and get back into the arts. Cause I think just you get that moment in college to like redefine yourself.
Yeah.
Cause you get out of the high school bubble where you had an identity that you're like stuck with, quote unquote, like it or not like it. You're kind of like, that is who you are in high school. Then you go to college and you get a moment to redefine yourself. So do you feel like there was some of that when you went to Wesleyan, that you kind of were able to move out of that like class clown?
Yeah.
shell
I mean,
into-
I think that it was able to morph in a healthy way. In a way where I could still, because I mean, naturally for me, I like communicate with people by, laughing and like making them laugh and stuff. I'd do like a silly face or something to try to make you guys laugh right now, but I'll just keep going with what I'm saying instead. Yeah, man, I mean, I think that it kind of morphed into just another piece of me as opposed to something that was, just the only piece of me,
Did you sink into a more singular friend group?
I kind of did. This is really like you're opening up some.
It's time to fire Dr. Gillette.
Yeah.
And take on Colin and Samir.
Who's this Dr. Gillette?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Can we put like an ad up for? Yeah,
We'll have you here every week.
Yeah. Colin and Samir, MD.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I mean, what was your question?
Did you sink into a more singular friend group?
Yeah. I did, honestly. I had a band. I played in bands my whole life, like in high school and stuff. But again, they were sort of outside of my identity. Like once I got to school, it was like something I sort of moonlit as, and so in college, I definitely, my friends became, I was more honest with my friends, in high school, I think I was a little bit, not with all of my friends in high school, but with some of them, I think I was very, I hid behind this sort of facade of the class clownery stuff. And then when I got to college, I definitely felt like I could be, like we were saying, like the feedback, I could get feedback from like these new friends in college who shared my interests and who wanted to, it kind of went from, it was like the most passionate and interested people like at school were the ones who people gravitated towards, so I think that I wanted to be one of those people, honestly, and like express myself and have passions outside of razor scootering on desks. Yeah.
You had mentioned earlier that your confidence built as a musician when you're in college? Is that largely due to that friend group?
Yeah, I think for sure. Like they appreciated the stuff I was creating and the original music that I was making. Also, I don't want to like rag on my friends from high school who are great and who I love. Well, actually, yeah, fuck them.
If you're gonna do it here.
No. I mean, I think honestly, it was me. Like I was the one. I don't know. Like they very well may have been like receptive to my to what I was doing musically, like on my own outside of jazz band. And I was just too afraid to like be vulnerable and show that stuff to them. Whereas like the second I got to school, I like the first time I like played music in a sort of like group band setting with people, everyone was like, "Oh, that was great. That was really fun." I got like a lot of positive feedback, you know?
Wait, were you guitar guy like freshman year in the dorms?
Was I guitar guy freshman year in the dorms?
You know what I'm talking about?
Course.
Guitar guy shows up with a guitar. You're in a dorm with all these people you haven't met.
Yeah.
Guitar guy walks in, plays banana pancakes. Everyone is just locked into guitar guy, and you're like,
I was so jealous of guitar guy. And he was a good friend of mine, but I was really jealous.
Dude, you could have been guitar guy.
No, I couldn't
he
have.
can't be
No,
guitar
I couldn't
guy.
have. Yeah.
Are you tone deaf, Colin?
Yeah, I'm off rhythm all the time.
We talked about this on
I
the
wish I
podcast
could
one
sing.
time.
I can't. It runs in my family. We're
Yeah.
terrible musicians.
we aired this out one time on the podcast.
Oh,
Colin
did you?
sings a lot when we're in the car together
Okay.
to songs.
Yeah.
And I'd never said it to him.
Never
but
heard
he-
anything like
but
it.
yeah.
It's really bad. Yeah.
Well, you could just say you're like doing something a little outside the box. It's like
Right.
it's a performance art piece.
Sure.
That's what you should. Honestly, I would
Okay.
take
Yeah.
that angle if I were you.
Okay, so you
And do
weren't.
2 words: auto tune.
Okay, so I'm a surfer.
Yeah, you're a
and,
surfer.
now I'm a musician.
That's right.
Great.
Yeah.
So you weren't guitar guy.
I wasn't really. Again, I think when it came to like socializing in a group, I definitely still went funny person. I would say I was never like, oh yeah, that's a good point, man. It reminds me of this song that I know, you know. And also like I would sort of save the guitar playing for when I was like alone, sort of. Still, I feel like I definitely didn't like break it out in a group in the freshman dorm. But respect to the guitar guys out
I
there.
feel like
Major
Samir's a
respect.
big like break out the guitar guy.
Yeah,
Right?
okay.
Like if you got it, it's like
That's a big claim. That's a big
yeah.
claim.
Right? Yeah, if you got it, I'll play
Yeah,
it.
if you got
There
it,
it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you
there
got it, I'll
it
play
is.
it.
And if
But I
someone's
wasn't-
like, Samir plays guitar, he's like, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's
All
true.
right.
That's true.
All right.
Both me and my brother are like that, where like typically you ask us to perform, like you ask someone to perform and they go, no.
Yeah.
And him and I do that part as performance,
Right.
but it takes, one more ask and we're like, yep, let's do it.
Sure. It's
Samir's
very
brother-
Anchorman of you.
Yeah.
Samir's brother writes poetry.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
it
yeah.
takes like just the beginning of a request. And he's like,
Yeah.
okay.
If he hears the letter P, he's
yeah,
already
yeah.
like reciting a poem. Yeah.
That's
So-
really funny. That's
so
cool.
when you were in college at this point, you had already kind of let go of the surfing dream. Was there a moment where you,
Or had I?
okay, or had you? Was there a moment that happened that made you realize like, oh, okay, I'm not going to be a professional surfer?
Well, I mean, to be honest, like I think that it's like a kid who like plays basketball
Yeah.
in school
Oh,
and is good, and is like, if I like tried a little hard, if I just woke up a little earlier, played a little harder, I could be in the NBA. Everyone kind of thinks that. It was sort of like that for me with surfing, honestly. It was definitely never like a realistic dream. And I kind of knew that always in the back of my mind, knew that. But yeah, I mean, I think when I went to college, I was like, well, I'm not surfing competitively anymore, but maybe I could be a free surfer instead. Like that's maybe like where my mind went. I was like, okay, well, if this music stuff doesn't work out, I can just fall back on the surfing.
These are like out of this world thoughts for me.
Yeah. You're like, wow, is this real life? Yeah.
I was always jealous in high school of all the surfers at my high school also played water polo, which was a big sport
Yep.
growing up in LA.
Yep.
And somehow morning to night, their hair was always wet. And it was like cool. It was like sea salty kind of like, anyway, let's move.
Yeah.
Well,
we could dig into that a little deep. But that's another podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you
hair.
shift to like while you're in college, going through college, in your mind, are you like, I'm going to come out of this and become a musician?
That's a good question. Probably, yes. I would say yes. I think that I knew that it was the only thing that I liked to do. And I never really, I mean, now that I think about it, I never really had any question that wouldn't be like what I would do. It felt very natural for me to, just make that my focus, make performing and recording my focus. Cause truly the thing that makes me the happiest and where I find the most flow is in the studio or on stage. So, and I was like, I don't really want to not do that. So I'm going to do it.
And what about like the writing process? Like, are you writing a lot of music and lyrics in college?
Yeah, a lot.
And what is it about? Like, what's the subject matter? Is it as comedic sort of? There's a lot of like comedic undertones now.
Sure. I think so. I think it wasn't until the end of college or like just post college that I became more lyrically focused. I think in college I was more focused on the music because I was coming from, honestly, man, like I considered myself a guitar, and I still kind of do, honestly. I'm a guitar player first, because that's what I'm trained, that's what I studied, and not sort of in college, but it wasn't like my major or anything like that. But that was what I put my time into and practiced. So everything, and to this day, my songs pretty much like 90% of the time start with a chord progression. They start with the music. And in college, I was definitely of the mind that lyrics didn't matter that much, because I personally at that time wasn't really listening to music for the lyrics. I was listening for the melodies and what was, what would like stick in my head and what wouldn't, and the guitar sounds and like chord progressions and things like that. And it wasn't until I don't know when the shift was exactly, or like what, if there was a catalyst for it, but once I was, probably 20, 21, I was like, oh wait, lyrics actually do have importance and meaning. And I think that, naturally if you go back and listen to my songs from college, you're going to notice a lot of similar themes and, comedic undertones, a sense of humor to stuff. But also I could point out a bunch of songs where the lyrics are pretty random and pretty generic. Whereas now I'll put it this way. Like I heard a Frank Ocean interview once, a really old one, where he said melody should come, you should go with the thing that comes to you instantaneously with melody, and lyrics should be worked on and labored over. And I think that that's really true. The instinctual aspect of the music and the melody of a tune are sort of like the most primal, I think. Like that's what you react to sort of unknowingly and subconsciously. Whereas the lyrics are things that are a little bit more literal and like a little bit more tangible. So there's room for them to be like thought out. You don't want to like, I don't think it's good practice to like really hammer a melody, and like, get into it too deeply.
I remember when, first and foremost, when I was in 7th grade and in a band, our biggest inspiration was Blink-182, of course, as ever. Blink-182 and Green Day. And we would write chord progressions that we loved and then drum beat. Like we just put the song together. And then we just quickly would whip up lyrics about breaking up, like breakups. Although none of us had been in relationships yet. We were already singing about relationships ending. But when we got a little bit older and we started working with some musicians who actually now are in a band called Group Love, which is super cool. They went to my high school and they were in my brother's grade. And so they kind of like my brother bridged the gap and we got to go record with them and watch how they did it.
Cool.
We would write.
My God, little Samir must have been freaking out.
Oh, I was freaking out because they were in a band at the time, a high school band that I was like a huge fan of. And one of them had a recording studio at his house. So we would go over there and we would play our chord progression. And then two of the guys would hum a melody over it. And it was totally different from the melody we wrote, but it was so much better. And they were like, you should sing along this. Like
line.
this is the melody that you should sing along to. And it was the first time I had learned kind of the layers of creation and being a little bit more slow in the process. And that process is actually something that now we do a lot in video making.
Sure.
Like with Colin and I, when we make a video, the first iteration of the video, we always call it laying down a track. Which literally means like we're going to go and we have a baseline script and we're going to record that script. That then goes into a timeline, which then layers and layers get built on top of it, and words get shifted around and words get added, and like the script gets changed to the point where the final form of the video is a bunch of stuff layered on top of that bass track. And I find it really similar in music where you kind of lay down this bass where you're like, I like this chord progression, and then you hum along to it, and then the lyrics come, and then the additional sounds come on top of it. And the creation process, from what I remember of recording music, is extremely similar to that of making a video.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I mean, not to blow smoke too much, but I think your guys, there is a sort of rhythmic musical quality to your videos. I feel like it's very, very unique. Like you have a style that's like equivalent to a band having a sound. I think so. Wow, that's big kudos.
That's the coolest thing anyone's ever said about us.
Yeah,
Interview
I appreciate
over.
that.
Won't get better than that. No, man, but yeah, totally. I think that that style of building something creative like that tracks overall mediums for sure.
What were some of your influences that you were pulling from musically?
Gosh, a lot of different stuff. The Smiths, Radiohead.
Okay, I get it. I get.
But also like Simon and Garfunkel, little like Led Zeppelin here and there.
The kids in high school who liked Radiohead. So I never really were really cool and a little pretentious.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I was never it wasn't until I didn't really totally get it until I was actually no, I was about to say
that language.
So douchey.
That language.
Now you have to say
no, but that language, Henry, is the language that people would use at my high school, which was like I listened to Radiohead and I was like, this is not good, and they're like, oh, you just don't get it.
Yeah.
What is there to get? The sound isn't great.
Right.
But then as you get older, you
realize.
You get it. Yeah. But I didn't understand that in high school.
Sure.
I was like, what are you talking about? Get it.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Have you heard this Blink-182 song? It's so good.
There's nothing to get. It's just good.
It's just good. You don't have to get it.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I don't know. I mean, I think my dad was the one who really like exposed me to all sorts of different music from a very, very young age, and he's an amazing musician too in his own right. And he pretty much whatever he put on, I was like, oh, this. If my dad likes this, that means it's cool. Good. Yeah. So we had like a Smiths compilation. I'm going back to like high school times now, middle school. But he had like a Smiths compilation in the car and a Simon and Garfunkel compilation in the car, and that's I just literally listened to those on repeat for probably 10 years.
Got it.
Yeah.
I feel like there are some songs on Neato that have your debut album that have like a 50s and a little bit of like a surf rock vibe to them.
Yeah.
What's the song like? Alive
Annoyed?
Yeah.
Pause to hear 5 seconds of Alive and Annoyed. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I that's sort of like the other side of things. I love like female led like bubblegum pop from the 50s. I love like country music, early country music from like the 50s and 60s, like Patsy Cline and Loretta Lynn, and a lot of female musicians in that arena like are really huge influences on me.
How do you discover those as an influence? I always find it interesting when musicians are interviewed and they pull what seem like these totally obscure influences, and you're like, do you listen to that much music? And I guess you do because you're a musician. But like,
that's a really good question. It's sort of it's kind of like when I couldn't even, I kind of like black out when I'm like discovering new, I couldn't even tell you. It just sort of like pops up out of nowhere, and it's like something I connect with.
From what I remember, because I was pretty obsessed with music when I was in high school, I would spend a lot of time. I thought it was so cool to discover something that no one else knew, right? Like that was like it was like a gem if you found a band that like your friends didn't know about. And I would spend a lot of time on Kazaa and LimeWire.
Oh yeah.
Because people would basically, again, if you're watching this and you don't know what those are and you didn't spend any time on that, like that was our adolescence. That was a huge part of our adolescence.
Huge.
Starting with Napster and then going
Napster
into,
would go down, you get Kazaa. Kazaa would go down, you get LimeWire.
Yeah. So these are like,
Kazaa I've never heard of.
Really?
Yeah.
Again,
No,
I think we're older than you. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
you're a little older. Yeah.
Kazaa,
LimeWire was my shit though, for sure.
You would download. So basically, Kazaa was like file sharing. So people would share their music through file shares.
It's the same thing as LimeWire.
Okay.
Yeah, but you could
different
search like a genre of music because people were just naming these files things, and they would come in like a zip file. You would unzip it and have a bunch of music in it. So you could look like pop punk compilation or like alt rock compilation. And so you discover like music. And that's what I remember, as I'd spend a ton of time on those sites just looking for music that no one had ever heard before. So I could be the one to come to school and be like,
check this out.
Yeah. I remember someone came to school with the Mars Volta one day, and it was like
that's
everyone,
a big one.
that was a huge discovery, right? And then
that's
there
a
was
big
like
one.
the Rapture and like all these other, and it was like people were just coming in with these bands and
Oh
like,
my God.
it
You
was
were painting a picture. I
you
know
exactly the time.
what you're talking
Yeah, the era. Yeah.
It's so funny because for me, like,
crystal clear.
meanwhile on the East Coast, I'm like listening to Dave Matthews Band, OAR, and like,
Okay, you know
and
what? That's-
This
so
guy
that's an
surfs at
interesting
sunset,
thing.
you know?
wow, this just got really pretentious.
Sunset local. We're trying to be alien as many people as we can. Exactly.
This is our friendliest and rudest podcast at the same time.
No, but it's funny you say that actually, because like I remember like when I came to college, a lot of my friends who were from the East Coast, like they loved Red Hot Chili Peppers and like Dave Matthews Band and like these bands that on the West Coast were, because they're from the West Coast, so they're not like they're not gems in the same way that they are to like people from the East Coast. And it's like, we're in California, we don't need to listen to a song that's like California, whatever. So I was like, oh my God, it's so lame that you listen to Red Hot Chili Peppers, like, to them. But then I would be like, oh dude, like this check out this like,
LCD.
LCD Sound System, or like even like a Wu-Tang like compilation, or like I would be like, oh, check this out. They're like, you're listening to Wu-Tang's greatest hits. Like you are the lamest person of all time.
But there was no Spotify. So it's not like, and music discovery wasn't, it was like the radio and compilations and burned CDs.
Right.
I have a ton of burned CDs from kids at high school who would be like, dude, I made this mix. Like, here's like literally mixtapes that you would put on in your car, and that's how you discovered new music.
Yeah. I mean, my friend Mel,
shout out Mel.
Huge shout out to Mel. They played bass in my band in high school, and their taste in music was so good. And I mean, my most prized mixed CDs from those days were from Mel for sure. And they had like, I don't even know, like, early like Major Lazer and like early Jens Lekman. I don't know if you know him.
Jens Lekman is so good.
One of the goats.
I feel incredibly lame for not knowing Jens
you don't know Jens
Lekman. I feel like you guys are messing with me. That's not a real name.
It's
I'll play
real,
you a
baby.
song by Jens Lekman that's so good.
Yeah, he's fire.
Yeah, that was such a cool era of sharing. Like, I feel like it would be so rad right now with how much content there is, and how much you're consuming on a daily basis for like a buddy to hand you I don't know what they would hand you, a flash drive of like a bunch of videos that they just curated for you. That they're like, I think you would like these. And you pop it in and you just don't know what's coming next.
Sure.
And that was so cool about CDs, is you didn't know what was coming next when someone handed you a mixtape. And a lot of times, because you couldn't just so rapidly change things, you put in a CD, that was the CD you were listening to.
Yeah.
And a lot of CDs and albums were structured start to finish.
Yeah.
Like, you listen from track 1 to track 13 or track 10.
Yep.
And I remember, like, I wouldn't even know the names of the songs. I'd just be like, dude, track 2 is so good. You know, and like, you would have that relationship with the music that was more curated by either your friend or curated by the artist and how they wanted you to consume it.
Yeah.
Now everything is much more on the listener or the consumer side, making the decision on how they want to consume your music.
For sure. That's a great way to put it. And I do think, though, it is that element of, I mean, it's still, like you said, it's still up to like the listener who, you know, or it's like consumer to consumer sharing. But I think the ethos of the mix CD is coming back a little bit with like playlists on Spotify.
Totally, yeah. Discover Weekly for me is unbelievable. Every Monday I'm like, ooh, I can't wait to see what they put together for me.
Yeah, that's like a great function. Like
super great function.
It's awesome. And it's also really, that's one of the best things that Spotify does for emerging artists too. Cause like that's what Talk like has all of its plays from Discover Weekly stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah. Cause it's like one of the algorithmic playlists.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and then, you know, I definitely find that it's I find expression, in creating playlists on Spotify. Like I have a playlist, called Good Job Playlist that I update really frequently on Spotify. And that's where I kind of show people like the music that I'm listening to and like what influences the music that I put out. And, I think it tends to be really eclectic. And, you know, it'll jump from like a John Fogerty song to like a Flo Milli song or something, you know, it's like all over the place. And I think that comes from the mix CDs that I listened to, like when I was a kid, you know, it would be a Wu-Tang song and then like Phantom Planet or something, you know, it was like all over the place. So yeah.
When you look at your album, Neato, is there a mix of eclectic influences or was there like a singular sort of influence?
Yeah. You know, I think with albums, man, they're so expansive and cover sort of such a wide range of your life's experience, and they are an expression of years and years of things that you've accumulated. So I think because of that, it is a pretty eclectic mix of influences. I think though that, like we were saying with the sequencing thing, for me, Neato is definitely an album that I want people. I think the optimal experience of Neato is listening to it tracks 1 through 13, like in order. But within that ride, it sometimes feels like it's on shuffle, I think, because the songs do jump up and down in tone and energy and subject matter and stuff. You know, in almost like a manic way. And that's sort of how I experience life. So there's, you know, I also, for the album, I think that there's sort of two sides of things, like, or the songs kind of like exist on a spectrum, I guess. It's like some are anxiety songs, and then others are like nostalgia, melodrama, euphoria kind of songs, right? And each one kind of like lands on someplace on that spectrum, but I never want to go 2 songs in a row that like hits the same spot on the spectrum, you know? If that makes any sense. I'm getting kind of a little bit acid trippy right now, but so like a song like John the Dog, the first song on the record, which is more of a deep cut and probably falls closer to the anxiety side, has to be followed to me by something like 13 Besties. That's a little bit more like sort of on the face, cheeky and fun, and like maybe a little like nostalgic, or has some it's less like for lack of a better word, like deep or profound on the surface. You have to dig a little deeper to like hear any to recognize like any profundity in that tune.
Are those all real people in 13 Besties?
I've actually been asked that. Yeah,
you name names.
Yeah, I name names, baby. No, they're not. They're all made up. Sadly,
dark.
but that's also like how the album begins with John the Dog.
Yeah, no, that's true. Ooh, yeah,
it's such like an. Well, I find that like the album is such, and a lot of your music is such like an intimate exploration of your own head.
Yes,
and
thank you.
I imagine it feels like it's an exploration that you can only do if you're spending significant amounts of time by yourself.
That's definitely true.
And I say that having been someone who like has spent a lot of time by myself.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting, like to hear you explore the intimacies of your own mind makes me feel less alone when I listen to it. Because it's like, oh, here's someone else who like sits with their own thoughts the way that I feel like I do.
Yeah, man. I think that we're kindred spirits in that way.
That's all I'm saying.
There's something to a song about being lonely that harps on being lonely and talks about it, but the fact that it exists makes you feel less lonely, and those are the tunes that I love the most, like there's the Smiths lyric. I think that, what song is it in? Shit. I forget. It's that song. Can I look it up real quick?
Yeah, let me ask you some other questions.
Yeah.
Another thing is just that Henry's the music videos. I would urge you guys to check out his music videos, because one thing that I love about your art is that you do music videos. Not all artists do music videos for like almost every song, and that. I don't know. There's something so cool and nostalgic for me about the music video, and it brings so much context to the music. There's a music video you actually shot in our studio in downtown LA.
Damn right.
Thank
you, by the way.
Yeah,
for
of
letting
course.
us use the space.
But it was super cool. It was like all these ice structures with like old relics from your past. And that added so much to the song. It was like so much context, and me looking into like, oh, I kind of get where he's going with this song now through the music video.
Totally, yeah,
but
good.
Those also have this mixed feeling sometimes of like Colin said, like a journey through your own mind.
Yeah.
And a level of like darkness and light at the same time.
Yeah. I think, I experience a lot of anxiety and depression and have my whole life, but I also have always had a sense of humor about everything, like I think it's important to laugh and to have like a smile sort of undercutting all the seriousness. And like, that's, I think, what hopefully is happening on the album. Like that sort of spectrum of where the songs land does have this layer of like undercutting humor or like a wink underneath everything. And I try to make that come out in the music videos too. It's like, a mix of, me the concept being sort of funny or silly, but then you have like a sort of visceral, crazy performance, like in the midst of everything, like a very serious, intense performance. For me, also sort of a side note, because my music is very insular and I do it all by myself, I write it all by myself. The music video stuff, the video stuff that's where I collaborate. And I really enjoy collaborating in that space. So, like Jack Coyne, Sydney Schleif, Ethan Young, my dad directed a couple of the videos for this one.
Shout out
Baker,
your dad.
big shout out to my dad. Those are people who I love and who I really value the input of, and being able to sort of break out of my shell in this other medium is like a very valuable thing for me as a musician. And it also, like you said, I hope that the sort of points, quote unquote, of the music videos is to shed light, on the song and sort of like have people gain some new perspective on it. And for me, that's kind of the point of it for me as well, because I get to see other people's take on my song, by having them direct it and have like their vision come across like in collaboration with mine. So yeah, huge shout out to all the music video directors. Yeah.
So I have a question for you. I want to go down a path of like art as a career.
Yeah, go down.
Because
the path.
one thing that we share is that we've taken something that we love to do and decided that's going to be the thing we do to make money.
Yeah.
I find that I was mentioning this to Colin, that creativity oftentimes creativity is one of the most unreliable and unpredictable resources there is. And when you commodify it, when you decide to monetize it, a lot of times there's situations where it's like, be creative. Here's a check, be creative. It's tough to know, like I can't tell you right now if I'm going to be creative next week or not. There's days where I feel creative and there's days where I don't. And that brings a lot of stress when you rely on your own creativity for your income.
Yeah.
How does that concept play into, I guess, your career as a musician? Where I think music's a little different because you can take a bit longer to develop, an album. Whereas for us with videos, it's like we're cranking these things out. And a lot of times we're committing to advertisers to make sure we have a good creative idea. And then once you have one good creative idea, and advertisers like, do that thing again. But for me,
our art is very commercial.
Yeah. Totally. That's an interesting balance and a tough one for sure. I think the way I sort of think about it, honestly, nowadays in the music industry is there's so much music coming out and it's so easy to access. There's just an overwhelming surplus of material out there. And, if from other spaces too, I mean, the amount of entertainment that we have access to in like a click of a button is insane. But I think that, so if you were to be pessimistic about it, you could say, well, then there's no point of me making art, there's no point of me making music because how the hell would it ever cut through all this noise, But I think an optimistic way of looking at it is this is actually the best time to be original and to do exactly what you want to do and listen to yourself only, because literally there's no predictor. You can't be like, okay, this is the kind of music I'm going to make and that's going to guarantee that I'm going to break through. It's not. It's really random. So you might as well do what you want to do and make the music that you want to do and be true to your heart and be true to what's like originally in you. So I try to focus on that. I think, I really don't think about what's going to be successful commercially or what's going to get the most plays or anything like that. Because I know that stuff in the music realm is totally arbitrary. So I just sort of like I can't believe you dropped your cup.
God
So
I'm so sorry, Henry.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine.
Sorry
Let's
that
just.
you
Should we pick this up tomorrow?
Yeah, let's take a couple hours. Maybe take a walk. We'll come back.
Yeah, I should
Yeah.
probably.
What?
Okay.
Yeah, no, Colin, you should take off. Yeah.
I guess
And scene.
yeah.
Nice. No, but I mean, in all seriousness, like it's if you're looking at it from a negative angle, it's the worst time ever to be a musician. But if you look at it from a positive angle, you could see the angle that it's the best time to be a musician, you know?
Yeah, you got TikTok.
Yeah, you got TikTok, man.
Yeah.
Come on. You got Charlie D'Amelio.
So,
yeah.
You know, you bring up the D'Amelios. I was thinking a lot about.
Colin's
I was
been waiting for this.
Yeah,
moment.
here we go.
I've been waiting
Finally,
for this.
someone
Go.
brings up the
Thank
D'Amelio.
you.
Yeah,
This is
he
yeah.
takes out a
taking-
huge scroll.
It's
He's like
taking
ready
forever
to
get there. I'm
notes.
glad we finally did.
Good.
Dixie D'Amelio
Yeah, sure.
has that song. What is it called? Happy? Or it's like I just don't want to be happy or whatever.
Please don't pretend you don't know. the
No,
song.
I
It's
listen-
called
I listen
Happy.
to the song
Yeah,
often. I'm not sure
yeah.
what the name is.
Uh-huh.
It's called Happy.
But yeah, big fan.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, well, they drink Dunkin' Donuts, the
Yeah.
D'Amelios,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
down for it's cool.
But the thing about
By the
that
way,
song,
Duncan, let's just quickly,
yeah.
side note,
Yeah.
not good coffee. Let's confirm.
So
Objectively bad coffee.
I'm going to have to go ahead and disagree.
wow,
Yeah.
hot take.
So I actually think when I go to Dunkin', I get a regular coffee with cream and sugar. That's what I ask
Okay, so
for.
that's where we differ. I can't do sweet coffee.
Oh, you
It's
go
not
straight
for me.
up, just
Yeah,
black
straight
coffee.
up black coffee.
Okay. So then,
So
yeah,
there we go. All right.
I feel you.
So now-
I've had the black coffee from Dunkin' Donuts. It is not very good.
Yeah. Okay.
But the coffee with cream and sugar, just the straight up coffee, cream and sugar, the ticket. It's
But you
good.
spent time on the East Coast.
Yes.
So yeah,
Oh,
there
yeah.
we go. All right.
Oh yeah.
What were
So
you
the
saying
thing
about
about
the
Dixie-
D'Amelio?
So if you're thinking about commercial music,
Uh-huh.
that song, Sometimes I Just Don't Want to Be Happy,
Yeah.
that's like as commercial as you can get. It's
Sure.
right on the nose of just like, sometimes I'm sad, sometimes I'm lonely. Like
Right.
there's just not much to it other than like this, the name of the song is the exact emotion.
So I think
Whereas with
Also,
you,
yeah.
Catchy tune.
oh,
Great.
I love it. I play
Yeah.
it often.
Oh,
I
good,
think it's
good.
great
Catchy
pop
too.
music.
yeah.
But I think it's interesting because you, on the contrary,
Mhm.
will give two contradictory statements in your lyrics. Like you'll say one thing and then you'll say the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
another time.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
like the audience then has to infer potentially how you feel emotionally. Again,
Right.
it's like you're exploring your own mind, but you're like just displaying it out there, and then we have to explore it as well.
Totally. I mean,
So what I'm saying is you're not Dixie D'Amelio.
An easier
What?
way to say this is you're not writing songs for Guitar Guy.
yeah.
Guitar
yeah.
Guy's not walking
Yeah.
into a dorm and playing some Henry Hall.
No. I mean,
Maybe talk.
yeah,
Maybe talk.
no, I don't know. A Guitar Guy could take a stab at one of my songs for sure. I'm definitely shout out to Guitar Guy. But yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. I think that I have a lot of contradictory stuff going on in my head, so that's what I put out there, really. And I think that it's important to like we were saying or like you said the when you've had the experience of listening to a song and feeling less alone because the sentiment that you're feeling and you thought was just you know you were the only one feeling is in that song too. It's like, oh my God, like I have a friend in this, you know. And I hope people come away with that as well, because or they can see the two contradictory things and then make their own meaning out of it. You know, I want to, ideally for me, a listener would hear a song and connect with the sentiment that I'm feeling, and at the same time create their own feeling from the song. You know, I want people to be able to have like their individual experiences with the music, because everybody's different.
I think it's like
Quote.
This is that
You know?
concept of like the Radiohead kids being like, you don't get it. It's like there's some music and art that is incredibly active, and that the artist wants to have a relationship with the person who's consuming it on the other side.
Yeah.
They're saying, let's engage in a conversation.
Yeah.
Right? Let me put out some music. You now, it's your job, quote unquote, to receive it and come up with meaning and explore things and listen to it over and over again. And I remember songs like that I loved listening to the lyrics and finding something new and taking meaning into my own life. And I think a lot of pop music is very passive, where it's like, give me a really catchy melody that after one time I'm going to hear it, it's going to be in my head. Give me easy lyrics that I can repeat. Give me, stuff that's not going to be too overwhelming for me. Like, don't make me go into my head. Don't make me, go through my childhood in any way.
But I think that honestly though, I don't make any value judgment with music. It's not digging too deep into your own psyche and just hearing a song and having it sort of wash over you and make you feel good and be like comfort food is just as valuable as a song that makes you be like, interesting. Let me think about this. And
I totally agree. I totally agree.
They both have their place for sure. And I'm interested in writing that kind of music too. Like I want to explore all different sides of writing and of like, because sometimes, man, I mean, I do write a song where I'm like, I want this one to just be a tune, and not be something where I'm like being neurotic and introspective. So yeah, I mean, there are a lot of different directions to go with this old music thing.
So not only are there multiple, sides of you that come out in your music, but as an artist, there's multiple sides of you when it comes to actually your art. And again, I mentioned I've seen you act in some YouTube videos, and then also saw you act in Curb Your Enthusiasm. And I have to bring that up because I think it's a lot of people. It's a favorite show. Larry David is unbelievable, and I think people on YouTube today even pull a ton of influence from Larry David and his ability to make content from the mundane and make comedy and make us all relate to something.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
And I think a lot of people on YouTube do it. I mean, again, we talked about Casey at the top of the pod. It's like the guy can make mowing his lawn interesting.
Yeah.
And if you look at Larry David, he did similar things.
Yeah.
And so I just want to know, I'm not going anywhere deep with this. I just want to know what the experience was like and like what your relationship is to acting. Cause I find you to be a very talented actor, and I'm curious if you've explored that any further or have interest in exploring that.
Yeah.
further.
I mean, I do to some degree. I don't get the same flow catharsis feeling that I do from acting or that I do from music in acting. Like when I've acted, there's a euphoria and that's like an ecstasy that I feel when I perform or like have a good day in the studio. That's pretty much unlike anything else. And I don't really feel that when I act quite as much. It's really fun. Like I would rather be doing that than doing something boring, but, it's not, I don't get the like artistic fulfillment totally from it, I don't think. But that being said, I mean, I'm not that experienced with it really. Like I think maybe if I did it a little bit more and like kind of treated it a bit more like as a craft, I might find a little bit more of a flow.
Maybe if you had a better improv partner than LD. Basically, I think what Henry's saying is like, get him a real actor to work with. Okay.
No. Okay. Well, that experience was like unbelievably fun and amazing. And I couldn't be like more thankful to have been on the show. I mean, Curb is, it's a masterpiece. It's one of the best shows of all time.
I think also growing up in LA, Curb is like something that we all loved because like he goes to places we go to in LA. And
that's
like,
true. That's very true.
That was very cool growing up here. To see something like that.
It definitely, I definitely had like I feel like I'm jumping into my TV screen moment for sure, working with Larry was unbelievably fun and I was really nervous and, it was a surreal experience, honestly. And he's a master. He's a comedic genius. His sort of energy on set and in a scene is it's like nothing else. I mean, it's hilarious and like couldn't be more fun to be around. Honestly, it was like a really, really fun experience. It was great.
When you're on set with Larry, are you guys like riffing all the time in between?
No,
takes
I mean,
and stuff? Like, how does that look?
I had like a very tiny line, so I wasn't doing much riffing with him or anything. He in between takes he practiced his golf swing a couple of times. You know, I know him too, like he's a family friend. So we kind of, you know, we talked about like my mom and dad and my brother and stuff. But yeah, I mean, you can definitely, I was sort of like, oh, I wish I was a better actor so that I could like really, like I could play his game a little bit more. Like I definitely felt, I was like, what am I gonna like, you know, start like building like a fake fire or something, like improving like with Larry, you know? yeah.
Just go like full improv.
Whoa, Henry, right.
I do think it's interesting though, like, when I have interacted.
I'm like, hello, Larry. He's like,
like too far.
Yeah. I'm a chimney sweep. What are you doing? Yeah,
that would have been so inappropriate in the scene that you were in.
So inappropriate.
But I do find it like when you get to interact with someone who's at the top of their craft.
Yeah,
it's just so inspiring for you to become that person. Like whenever I've interacted with someone where I'm like, well, even if I'm not trying to be in that craft, I want to be this for my craft. You know, and I think that is a really cool thing.
Yeah.
You think you could be that person for me from a surfing perspective?
Dude, I legit, serious note, I will take you, I'll give you a surf lesson. No, but I'll go surfing with you whenever you want.
Great. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Okay. Samir too.
That would be very fun.
Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah. Take you guys out.
So you mentioned that the kind of like euphoria from performing, is that kind of like a one of its kind euphoria for you in your life, like being able to play music?
Yeah, it is.
Where I'm leading here. Yeah. It's a segue.
Sure.
Because we're going to experience some of that euphoria live on the show right now.
Yes,
we're going to get a Henry Hall exclusive acoustic performance right here on the Colin and Samir podcast.
Yeah, I'm really not prepared. Not prepared at all.
We got a guitar guy.
What could this be? What is this little thing? It's so beautiful.
So what song? What song are you going to give us?
Well, I was gonna. Let's see. Would you guys want one that's a little more upbeat and like outwardly funny, like we were talking about?
Is there like a single? Is it Guy?
Is it Guy? Like
is Guy's the single?
It's the single.
Yeah.
I think we do the single.
Some deep
Let's do the single.
Too. Okay, I'll do the single.
Yeah.
I can do a little Guy.
Let's get the space set up.
Yes, get the space set up.
And here we're gonna get a exclusive acoustic performance off his latest album, Neato. It's Henry Hall.
Yeah, baby.
We have the coolest show in the world. I mean, I am just over the moon.
An audience of 2, but the only 2 who I really care about.
Yeah, there's a third person here.
Oh yeah, right. What's up, dude? Okay, well, this song is about a guy who thinks he's right, and in explaining why he thinks he's right, he exposes why he's very wrong. It's called Guy. It goes like this. I'm a nice and funny guy. Didn't mean to make you cry. Now I feel so bad for making you feel bad. I never meant to do that. So I would appreciate some kind of apology. 'Cause I feel so bad for making you feel bad, honey. I'd never do that on purpose. I'm nice and I'm funny. I'm a guy.
yourself into my shoes, baby. I write conscientious tunes. Plus, I could never do something, malicious. That's absurd. Are you impressed that I used that word? So I would appreciate some kind of apology. 'Cause I feel so bad for making you feel bad, honey. I'd never do that on purpose. I'm a nice and a funny guy, 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 guy. Woo! Listen to yourself right now. You sound like you were just born, but you weren't. You are a big boy. Time to fucking act like one. All your logic sounds ridiculous, so listen to me, and you need to just sit right down and try, but you won't, 'cause you're a guy. Please, I am the one who should be receiving an apology. 'Cause you made me feel bad first, according to chronology, baby. Your story doesn't even add up, oh God, oh buddy, oh buddy. But I get it 'cause you're a guy, 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 guy.
Yeah. There you go, guy.
But do you know banana pancakes?
Guitar guy. Another shout out to guitar guy, man. Come on.
That was incredible.
Thank you. There you go.
All right, everybody go check out Henry Hall. You can check him out everywhere on social, Henry Hall Music.
Yep.
Also, type his name into Spotify and just listen to Neato along with all of his other songs. Incredible music. Henry, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you for having me.